Congress is now in damage control mode over Republic's scoop of the open revolt against Rahul Gandhi in the state of Punjab. AICC Secretary Pranav Jha has just taken to Twitter, and I quote, "This is misinformation and deliberate targeting. The fact is that only MLA candidates were required to be present for the Rahul Gandhi visit," unquote. This comes after an MP claimed that they were never invited for Rahul Gandhi's event. So what exactly is going on? Is the Congress now in damage control mode over the revolt is something that remains to be seen. Congress now claiming that this is misinformation, it is deliberate targeting, and that the fact is that only MLA candidates were required to be present for the visit. Gursimran joining us live from Amritsar as he's tracking all those details. Gursimran, Republic picked up a scoop that 5 MPs boycotted that event and said they will not take part in it. They will not be in attendance during Rahul Gandhi's visit to Punjab. But now you have a Congress leader saying this is all misinformation, it's deliberate targeting. The fact is that the MPs were not sent an invitation in the first place. What's the ground reality, Gursimran?
See, if the Congress is saying this, then they should have answered why Gurjit Ojla was there. And when we asked Charanjit Channi, why didn't he said so? Why did he said that they must be occupied with some other work? Different leaders, different lines don't work. And this only happens when you are building a castle of lies, and that is happening in the case of Congress party. See, we spoke to Rahul Gandhi. We asked him if this was the situation, he would have answered. He ignored. He chose not to answer. Then come the Navjot Singh Sidhu. As usual, he didn't answer. When it came to Charanjit Singh Channi, when we asked him why 5 MPs were not present, he said that they must be having some of their own works. That certainly means that this was not the scenario, that they were not invited. Gurjit Ojla was one of those member of parliaments who was seen hand in hand with Rahul Gandhi. That means MPs were invited. So this is the exact scenario. But now what the Congress party is trying to do, they are just trying to cover up the situation that has arisen, that has come into public domain, and they are now trying to cover up. But can they? This is something that needs to be seen by the Congress party, because it is their ignorance towards the issue that has led to the situation like this in the Congress party, be it at the state level or at the center level. We have seen how there was a difference between Navjot Singh Sidhu and CM Charanjit Singh Channi. At the time Rahul Gandhi came to Punjab, he tried to solve these things out, to take both of them with him to Durgana temple, to Ram Tirath temple. But what actually happened, that another revolt started in the Congress party, with 5 members of parliament coming in open against the Rahul Gandhi's leadership. Though the Vadra Congress is adamant that they won't be changing the leadership, then what will happen? This the same thing that has happened in case of RPN Singh, a person who was designated as a star campaigner a day before resigned from the party on the next day.
Absolutely. Let me go across to Piyush for more on this. Piyush, there's a reason why we're asking whether this is a face saver, because, you know, the names that Republic has accessed as per sources include big faces of the Congress party like Pradeep Kaur, like Ravneet Singh Bittu. And now if all of these leaders, all of these MPs were not invited or were not to take part in Rahul Gandhi's event, that's also a question in itself.
Well, absolutely, and this is an attempt of damage control at the part of Congress party. If we talk about the presence of the leaders, remember that Gurjit Singh Ojla, who is also member of parliament of Congress party, he was present there. If Gurjit Singh Ojla was present there, then why other Congress leaders were not there? If we talk about Rahul Gandhi's program, remember that it was a big program which was planned by the Congress party. Top leaders of the Congress were present, including Charanjit Singh Channi, Navjot Singh Sidhu, multiple MLAs were also present there. Now Congress party is coming out and saying that misinformation is being created and only MLAs were required to be present in that particular event. If we talk about the campaigning we have seen of different political parties, whenever such a big leader goes to any constituency, we have seen not only member of parliament, MPs of that particular party, but also MLAs, local workers. Every leader goes there to meet their tall leader. But in this meeting, we saw as to how only Gurjit Singh Ojla could could be seen there, who is MP from Congress Party. Other 5 MPs were not present there. There are many more MPs of Congress Party from state, but other could not be seen. If you talk about Praneeth Kaur, what sources are telling us that she was not invited. Manish Tiwari was not invited. Other leaders were also not invited by the Congress Party. In fact, a few of them who were called, they refused to reach there, and they also mentioned about the fact that they do not want to see Rahul Gandhi as their leader. Now the point here is that for how long this delaying tactic will take place at the part of Congress Party, we'll have to wait and watch. When will Congress come out and resolve the crisis which is already brewing in the Congress Party? We also know as to how Charanjit Singh Channi and Navjot Singh Sidhu, they have also locked horns on multiple issues related to the Congress leadership in Punjab itself. So these 5 MPs have now made it very clear that they
Yes.
don't want to see Rahul Gandhi as the leader, but on the other side now Congress Party is doing damage control, saying that only MLAs were required to be present.
Yes, a question then also arises, Piyush, of whether those who intended to boycott this particular visit of his were deliberately not sent an invite. What's really going on? There is certainly a revolt of sorts that we do see brewing within the Congress in Punjab. Thank you, Gursimran and Piyush, for that. Quickly playing out a sequence of Gursimran trying to get in a word from Rahul Gandhi during his visit to Punjab. Rahul Gandhi evading those questions put out by Republic. Take a look.
कह रहे हैं कि 5 MPs ने रिवॉल्ट कर दिया है. वो कह रहे हैं कि दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. कह रहे हैं कि 5 MPs ने रिवॉल्ट कर दिया है. वो कह रहे हैं कि दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. कह रहे हैं कि 5 MPs ने रिवॉल्ट कर दिया है. वो कह रहे हैं कि दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. कह रहे हैं कि 5 MPs ने रिवॉल्ट कर दिया है. वो कह रहे हैं कि दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. कह रहे हैं कि 5 MPs ने रिवॉल्ट कर दिया है. वो कह रहे हैं कि दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. चन्नी साहब, 5 MPs ने रिवॉल्ट कर दिया है. दे सेड दैट दे आर नॉट हैप्पी, दे हैवंट जॉइंड.
जो सांसद हैं वो रिवोल्ट कर रहे हैं. कहाँ? ये डिम्पल, जो जसबीर सिंह डिम्पी है, उन्होंने तो बकायदा ट्वीट भी किया है सर. नाराजगी है टिकट बंटवारे को लेकर.
सर काले झंडे दिखा के आपका विरोध किया जा रहा है.
कौन है?
ये सामने कर रहे हैं.
काले झंडे का तो नहीं पता सर. सुनिए, काले